Hey, this is Larry Montgomery and Anna Eastman here with me today. We're going to take a few minutes and just walk you through using our online application, Mangedmissions. Now, we're assuming at this point that you've already applied for a team, that you've already entered your email and created a password for Mangedmissions. If you've not done that yet, we want you to be watching the other video labeled Go International Application Process. So at this time, Anna is going to log into her trip using her email address that she used to apply for the team. Now, be sure to be using the correct password. Again, if you have problems with that, you can contact us here at the Go International office and we can help you. And so once you apply, one of the things that you're going to notice is that all of the trips that you've applied for are listed here. Anna's only applied for one trip at this time, but you could have multiple trips going at once. You'll also see her name listed here and all of her different availabilities there as far as logging out and so forth, changing your password and from there. So here you see the status of her trips. You see the amount of money she's raised and the amount of money approximately that she owes for the trip. So when you click on the trip, it's going to come up with some various things. Here is some basic trip information. The trip leaders of this trip are not listed, but usually they'd be listed right there. There is meetings and task goals, for example, the different amounts of monies and things that are due. The copy of the passport, this is something we want to highlight. It's something we really need you to do is to scan your signed picture page of your passport. You can upload that here. It's very easy to do. Or you can email that to Anna or myself, and we will take care of it. But it's a desperate need that we have that here for emergency situations. Online, you're going to find some cross-cultural insight training that is very handy. Medical orientation for our medical teams, some next step devotions, and then an online version of the team leader book that you should have already received in the mail. We have some different links here available to you. Obviously, the Go International link, sample fundraiser letters for you to use to apply, send out to your friends and family. Again, the cross-cultural training is a very handy tool. Some travel recommendations from the CDC. Be sure to make sure that is when you click on that website that you're seeing the exact country that you're traveling to, the world clock, world facts about the country you'll be going to. There's some expedited passport information. You can view your calendar, you can email the trip coordinator, and you can obviously pay for your trip right here. This is a button that a lot of people miss, but this is where you would go if you wanted to make a trip payment yourself. Here on the My Info tab is where you have entered all of your various information, and you can make changes to that, adding your passport and other information. Here, for example, Anna had not entered her passport information yet, so it's not listed, but this is where you would go to list that information, updating your personal information as well. If your team leader is having meetings, this is where all those meetings would be listed in past meetings. Some team leaders, if we're all traveling from one location or one church, it's a very handy way to keep up with that. Our tasks and goals are listed here. I'm going to go over fundraising and more in just a minute and what those amounts are. But be sure, again, this is where you would go to upload the document for your passport. This is one of the biggest needs that we have, is making sure that we get that. You will also receive at some point a verification email that asks you to verify all of your information. So if you go back to My Info and just verify that all of your information is listed correctly and accurately according to the name listed on your passport. We ask that that be done quickly, so as we're making preparations and plans and communicating with the airlines as well as the State Department, that we have all of your accurate information. Under fundraising, you're going to get a status bar that lists your fundraising status. For example, the approximate cost of the trip is $2,350. This trip, every trip costs differently, and so a lot of times we list our trips or advertise our trips on a basis of what the cost is plus the airfare. For example, this trip was listed at approximately $1,310, and so we estimate that the airfare will be about $1,000 at this point. Once we purchase airfare, this in total amount is adjusted to meet the actual cost of the airfare. So if the trip was $1,350 and all of a sudden we got a really good deal on airfare and the trip turns out to be $1,850, then this amount will be adjusted once airfare is purchased. But we need to estimate ahead of time, and so we estimate that it is going to cost about $1,000 for airfare for this particular trip. Also, you'll see the status. So Anna paid $150 on her credit card. Remember, all of your donations to this trip are tax deductible, including the ones you make yourself. And so Anna has a $150 donation listed. And then look, Anna's mom she found out her daughter was going on a trip, and so she gave $100 towards the trip, and that all can be tracked right here. So at any time, she is fully aware at who is listed on the trip. Bear in mind that if we receive checks here in the office, sometimes it could take up to a week for it to show up here. If they give directly to your Mangedmissions account, which we're going to talk about in a minute, it will show up automatically. Also, a part of your Mangedmissions is the ability to have a public profile. Public profile is essentially a GoFundMe account, if you're familiar with that, an online giving place for your trip. I'm going to be making another video about Anna's public profile shortly, and I can tell you more about that then. But basically, this is a tool that people can use. You can share through your social media or by emailing this website around so that people can give directly to your trip here. So, again, this is just an overview of what your trip will look like and some different variable aspects. This is a great tool. We encourage all of our folks to log into their Mangedmissions account frequently in order to get any information that they would desire. Again, you can pay for your trip here. You can create a public profile for folks to pay. You can keep track of your fundraising, tasking goals, meetings, and also your information. I want to highlight just one more time to be sure that all of your information is entered correctly. The travel information, I'm going to go ahead and push edit so that you can see all of the different things that are listed there. We need this information as quickly as we can get it, and to be sure that it is as accurate as possible. We need that name on that passport to be exact. Well, we want to thank you for your time. And again, this is just an overview of your Mangedmissions account. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the Go International office at any time.
that like I'm recording the whole time.
Yeah, I can edit that out. What's this one? Managed missions overview.